Welcome back to a new video. So in this workout, this is going to be pretty much the same as the previous week as far as the exercise selection, but the I didn't actually look. I just remember the snatch workout and the clean and jerk type stuff that I did, and I'm mimicking that as well as adding in the pulls as well. I haven't decided if I want to do the slowly centric or not, but that's down the road, so I'm not too worried about that at this current moment. The first exercise I'm going to do is going to be the snatch waves like I did last week on this day, where I did a power plus a full snatch. So I'm going to hopefully do it up to 95. If I'm only at 90, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to also try to do it without straps. Now I'm in here with the competition bar, so if my hands start to get sore and start to get ripped up a little bit, then I'll just throw on the straps, which might make it a little bit easier, but I also don't want to put a hole in my hands because that will impact training later in the week. After doing the snatch work, I want to do a clean jerk complex of power clean, clean, push press, jerk, theoretically up to 125, but if I'm only able to get to 120 and that be like my top attempt, then I'll stop there and potentially wave back up, but that will be another thing too to potentially determine. Tentatively, I'm thinking about going up to 120, waving back down to 105, go to 115, then to 125 from there. But that's kind of up in the air because all of those extra sets would be additional from the previous week, and going up to 120 would be a heavier set than the previous week. So even if I just did the one wave, I guess it's not a wave, just if I just worked up to 120 in that's already increasing the volume, increasing the intensity from the previous week, as well as if you couple that in with the additional potential of the snatch work, if I'm able to do all the sets at 95. For the snatch pulls, go up to 120 with those for a 3x3, and then some barbell rows at the end, tentatively at 100, but that will certainly be up in the air when I get to that. One factor that's going to be impacting training today is something that was kind of flaring, I don't want to say flaring up, but something I was starting to feel yesterday. My back started to get a little bit tight in that pre-spasmed area that I had before yesterday during squats. I haven't had that feeling in a little bit, so I'm going to guess that it was just overworked a little bit. So if I start to get that feeling, then everything I just talked about will be kind of thrown out the window, and I'll dial everything down tremendously. I would say at a minimum, I would like to get up to 90 for a power plus snatch at least once, and same with the clean jerk complex, get up to 110 at least once, and then some pulls and some rows and stuff. And then obviously, I set my I set my goal for the session to be a lot higher, but it's also good to kind of keep a minimum so you're not leaving a session like really disappointed, especially like if my back starts to get weird. I don't think it will because it didn't really get worse during, it just kind of felt it during the squats, and now it's just a little bit sore. So I think I just worked it too hard. I did too many sets and too high of an intensity yesterday. So did 5 sets of 3 at 160, which is increased from before, but just something to keep in mind. I've been spending a lot of time today painting my car. I have a little spot on the door that I, like an idiot, tried to fix before with different paint, but I actually went through, well, I know it's reputable because I got the correct materials, but I went and got the correct color because I didn't know I had to get the correct color before. I thought it was just black, but that's how bad I am with cars. But I got the correct paint with all like the products that you need with it. So hopefully, I messed it up once, but that was more so me spraying it on incorrectly and being too close, so it dripped down. But I did another coat, and I had 2 other little spots that I fixed as well, and those look fine, but I didn't have to put as much paint on those areas. The other area, it's just on the rear passenger door. So I'm getting that fixed, or at least it's in the process because you have to let different coats dry, as I had to put on the base or whatever that's called, then the main color, and then I have to put on the clear coat, which will be done after I do training, so I actually can let it fully dry. I think it will look serviceable. I don't really care about my car. I like it and I want it to function, but I just was like, I have $70 to buy the paint products that I need. I'll see if I can get it to look a little bit better than it did, and hopefully it does. I know it's at least the color that I got is like correct to my car. It's just getting it all to be blended in there well. I didn't get the top end package, but I got the like middle of the road one that has like the base and the other things, but potentially if I needed more, like to do another coat on the main part, I might have to get another can of just the coloring of the car, because you get 3 different cans: the base, the actual color or the actual spray paint for the car, and then the clear coat to put on after. So we'll see how it looks. I know it's not going to be perfect, but at the same time, you know, it's my car. I'm going to drive it into the dirt as long as I can, and then eventually, you know, get a new one. But that's way down the line. That's after my house is paid off, most likely, after my master's program is done, and all of that. That will be like, now I can spend money on a car if I want. Even then I might, because I'm not a car person at all. But besides that tirade about my car, I believe I've talked way too much. I'm going to go ahead and start training, and yeah, just hopefully hit a bunch of good snatches. Hopefully don't tear any skin on my hand, and get a bunch of productive work done. But Sunday, it's about 6 o'clock, so we're a little bit earlier than I am with a lot of these shed sessions, but it's like 60 something outside, so it's actually colder in here than it is outside, but that's usually how it is in the shed, which is actually a nice benefit in the summer. But with that being said, let's start hitting the bar and we'll just get working. But talk to you at the end of the video. Well, that workout took not really a huge detour from what I had planned. I was feeling pretty good in some ways and not as good in others. I would say the snatches were feeling pretty decent. The full snatches were feeling better than the power snatches for sure. I felt like I was catching the full ones really in a good position, and power cleans were feeling decent. I knew I had a good chance of doing 125, especially once I missed it the first time. I knew I was going to be able to come back and make it just because it was me being apprehensive about just fully extending and not committing to catching it, more so than me not being strong enough to do it. And as far as push presses, the 115, once I did that, I knew that there was not much more in the tank. Maybe like 117. Like I might not have even been able to do another set with 115. I was pretty tired with then. But that kind of makes sense, with the, I did quite a few lifts yesterday and also spent a lot of time doing accessories as well since it was Saturday and I could spend a lot of time doing that. So it's not altogether unsurprising. Plus, I think last week in the session I only went up to 110, so I'm already, I increased the intensity from that. But I didn't do the waves as you noticed with snatch, but I did get up to the 100 for a power plus full, which I was really happy about. I was happy that once I did 90, like I kind of had a surge of kind of aggression and confidence to do 100, so that was a good feeling to have as well. So I'm glad that on 100 I was able to do that power, and hopefully, as this week moves on or as I'm doing it more often, it becomes more consistent, especially without straps. I think that will just be a good indicator that my snatches are just going to be moving in the right direction anyway. Power cleans, I talked about those. With the pulls, I decided not to do the slow eccentrics because of I actually remembered I did a bunch of glute ham raises yesterday, so I kind of covered the extra hamstring work, I suppose, by not doing the slow eccentrics today, by doing the glute ham raises the previous day. And I think after I stopped this video, well, now that I'm just thinking about it, I definitely want to go look at my car and see how the paint is dried, and then I have to put the clear coat on, so I'm going to go look at that. Then I'll probably do some shoulder. I want to stretch my shoulders. I want to spend a lot of time kind of like massaging and stretching my shoulders. I think that will just be good to do in general, to help loosen them up and to really, make sure that they're not an issue. It's more proactive than reacting to any sort of like discomfort that I'm having, and kind of work on my forearms as well, because my right wrist is becoming a little bit sore, and I think some of that's just immobility in my right arm or my right forearm. So just want to work on my upper body and potentially do some I think they're abduction when you go out, but just do a bunch of those in the house as well. But I first want to look at the car and then put the clear coat on. Hopefully it doesn't look too horrendous, but it's just a car. It gets me from point A to point B, and it's nice to have the luxury to kind of mess up the paint on it and that be the biggest issue that I have with it. And that's more obviously a cosmetic thing, but I'm going to take care of that, get a protein shake and all that good stuff. And I actually ate quite a ton of protein so far today because I got some General Tso chicken sauce, so I've been eating a ton of chicken because General Tso is my favorite sauce as far as like Asian cuisine goes. Although I won't get off topic there. Talking about sauces and Asian cuisine stuff. Overall, very happy with the session. I'm happy that I was able to do the 125 power clean. Obviously, the next step is to do that 130 like I tried to do the other day and be able to power clean that. And just kind of progress that up so doing like a 125 power clean is easy. And I want it to be a routine power clean because it's not so much that I want to get back up to, attempting a PR in the power clean, but I would like 130 to 135 to be, ones I can write down before I do a training session and be able to accomplish, and then have like 125 be like, I'm for sure gonna, this is not even like a thought of powering. Like, I want it to be treated like how 110 is. Like I could not necessarily go and do it cold, but like anytime I'm going to try to power 110, like it's just going to happen, and that's how I want 125 to go. Same thing with like power snatches. Like you want 100 to be like, I'm just going to do a power with this because I can, and not really be thinking that I got to work super hard at doing it. And that's also an indicator of progression of strength as well. But productive day of training so far. I've been really liking doing my own training. I feel like I'm doing a sufficient amount of volume in the strength exercises, and I think that's been the biggest thing that's been driving the progress in the lifts. But I want to continue to push everything this week, and this week will probably be the most aggressive of the 4, and then next week dial it back during the main part of the week, and then have the last day be like the max out day of the 4 weeks, and then kind of repeat that. So hopefully, even if the end of like this heavy day on Saturday for the 3rd week doesn't go well, which would kind of make sense if I'm doing a bunch of aggressive training throughout the week, hopefully the deload and preparing for that Saturday session the next week, that will go really well, and maybe I'll be able to, you know, do 125 and maybe an easy 150 and attempt something above that. But that's at least the goal. You know, if I do 120, 150 at the end of a 4 week and then come back and, you know, really start to hammer those numbers and just start to be consistent with those heavier numbers and start putting together the volume that's going to build into those numbers, I think that'll be good as well. Trying not to, you know, put all of my eggs in, like, I want to, you know, that's like the indicator, the only indicator of good training. Like, even if I lift terribly this Saturday and next Saturday, and then I restart the block and I don't have like really big numbers to end the block on, this block of training has been really productive as far as just finding exercises to do, like the glute ham raises, the strength exercises, just getting into a groove with doing those. And there's always things to improve upon. So it's just continuing to build that momentum, because the long-term goal is still to do the local competition in May, the beginning of May. So I just want to continue to build that so I can get to the point where 125 is the routine weight and I'm able to do 130 on a second attempt, and I'm able to, you know, be really confident with my positions. And hopefully, you know, in a perfect world, I would do 125, 130, 135, 160, 165, 170. That's obviously, you know, a pretty aggressive goal to have, but like that's kind of the vision by that time. And whether I get there or not, it's fine. It's about the work that you put in towards it. But that's going to be it for this one. I'll talk to you all in the next video. I hope you have a great day. Peace.